Hey guys, my name is Eric. Today I want to share with you guys something that happened to me this last week. So I had kind of fallen behind on a lot of my classes, actually a lot more than I should have. So I'm currently in week 7 of what's 15 weeks in my semester, and I hadn't done any work for 3 major classes, 3 religious studies courses, which, as you guys may know, if you've ever taken one, require a lot of reading. In other words, I had missed out on a lot of reading, a lot of assignments, a lot of quizzes, and some exams as well. So that was very, very terrible on my part. And I had set up a meeting with one of my professors this last Wednesday to see if there was a chance that I can maybe turn in a couple of these weeks worth of work to them for, half credit or whatever it is. And, in my mind, I go into this meeting thinking to myself, there's a very good chance that I'm going to walk out of here with just a solid no, as in I'm going to fail this class, And in my mind, I was kind of already making peace with it. I'm going to fail. It's all good. It is what it is. And I walk into this meeting, I sit down in a chair that's sideways for some reason, and I couldn't turn it, and it was stuck there. It was the weirdest situation, and this lady just seems so peppy, and she offers me a coffee, and then she has a whole bunch of really cool books that she's just telling me, hey, read this one. And it's such a weird encounter that I haven't really had with a professor in that way, especially when I go in to tell them, hey, professor, this class that I'm taking of yours, I haven't been there for 7 weeks. And her response to it is just, tell me why, what's going on? And I begin to tell her, and I begin to tell her what I was going through and, my situation, my work situation, and what I was trying to do to make it better. And she stops me at some point, she doesn't even let me finish explaining my full situation. And she starts doing things on her computer, and then she turns to me and she tells me, all right, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go ahead and retake these exams, you're gonna go ahead and retake these quizzes, because the 2 that you did take, you failed completely. And she said, go ahead and give it another try. You could turn in all these assignments, and I'm gonna give you a month to turn them all in. And she really gave me up until the last day when she could turn in grading, so the last day of the grading period, which was very, very generous of her. And then she tells me, I'm not gonna mark you down for any of this stuff at all. As in, you could turn in the last 7 weeks, as in the entire first half of the semester. You could turn in all this work, and I'm not gonna put you down, as late work. I'm not going to penalize any of your scores. And I'm sitting there just, why are you being so nice to me? I don't deserve this. And then she just throws something else even bigger at me. She had asked me previously, who are these other professors who you're taking classes with? What are these classes? And I had told her, she had written them down without me seeing, and then she just tells me, by the way, these other classes, don't worry about them. And I sit there like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm supposed to meet with these other 2 professors today too. And she just tells me, well, now you don't have to. And I don't know what's going on. And then she's just looking at me and she's like, I'm going to take care of this. You go ahead and do your work. I'm going to go ahead and talk to the other 2 professors, and they're going to help you as well. And I don't know what to say. And she's just telling me, these 3 classes that you failed, don't worry, you're going to be able to pass all 3 of them. And, I walk out of there just shocked at what had just happened. And, the first thought that came into my mind was, I had to call our Pastor Will, and I just started sharing with him on the phone, like, hey, dude, you'll never guess what just happened. I walked into this meeting with my professor, and I walked out of there just like, there's no way that I can look at that and not be like, God, thank you. Because I know that that's not a normal thing. I know that students who don't just walk into their professor's class, say, hey, I haven't been here for half of the semester, and then walk out with, I'm not only going to help you pass my course, but I'm going to help you pass all your other courses too. Like, it's nothing short of a miracle, honestly. And so, for that moment, there was a verse that just kept ringing in my head. I'm talking to my pastor on the phone, and it's Psalms 46:10, and it's just, be still and know that I am God. And that speaks to me, and especially in those moments when, I walked in there anxious and scared that I don't know what to do. I'm a senior. I'm failing these 3 classes, and I can't do anything at this point. But I forgot for a moment that, God loves me so much that there's these scenarios where I can just walk out of there with the confidence that, hey, you're going to be able to pass these courses. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. And so, I want to share something with you guys, and it's found in 1 Corinthians 10:13. And the reason for this is because, after I left there, I began to wonder a bit, why did God let me fall into that scenario to begin with? Why let me fall so far into this? And, I know I'm fully to blame, but, there's situations like this that are going to come up every now and then, and one of them would be the situation of David. But so I want to share this verse with you first. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13 says, God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it. Now, my mom had told me about this verse a lot. Like, I heard this verse a lot of times, usually in the form of God's not going to let you go through anything that you are not able to overcome. And I remember thinking about this as a child when I was reading the story of David and thinking to myself, why let David have to face Goliath to begin with? Why even create Goliath? I mean, Goliath was such an abnormal character. He wasn't supposed to be that tall. He was way beyond what was normal. He wasn't a normal enemy. He was so far beyond what was normal at that time that it's like, God, why did you let this guy get so big? Why did you let him become so strong? And why let Goliath become the monster that he was at the time? And so at the end of this verse that we just read, I think lies the key to why he lets these problems in these situations or these barriers get as big as they do. Because as it says at the end, it says that you may be able to endure. So in other words, he provides a way that you may be able to endure. He provides an escape, as the verse says. So not only does he provide the Goliath, but he provides a solution to it so that David in that moment may be able to come out of that situation better than when he came in. He's able to endure it in a way that he sees God manifest himself in what has just happened. In other words, God puts Goliath there. God puts a giant in your life simply for the sake of him to knock it down, simply to be able to bring this giant into your life. You may see this massive problem. You may see how incapable you alone are able to handle it, and then tell you, all right, now I'm here. I love you. So now let's handle it together. And then he just brings down these giants in front of you. And so I want to share with you guys one more verse, and it's found in Philippians chapter 4 and then verse 13. And it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It doesn't just say I can do all things, period. It's I can do all things through Christ. In other words, when we have God on our side, those giants mean nothing. When we have God on our side, these situations that seem so impossible. If I would have gone up to a friend and presented to them my situation of, hey, 7 out of 15 weeks, I didn't show up to class at all. I haven't turned in any of the work and haven't done any of the reading. Their initial response would be, you're going to fail all 3 of those classes. You know that, right? And honestly, my response would have been, yeah, I know that. But no, it's not about what I'm capable of doing. It's about what I'm capable of doing when I have God with me. And that is, I can do anything when God is with me. You can do all things when God is with you. You'll be able to endure any situation which he allows you to fall into. And so why was David faced with Goliath? Why was Goliath placed in that story to begin with? And the question comes again in our lives all the time when situations come up so big that sometimes we had to stop and ask God, why are you letting this happen? Why are you bringing these super difficult situations into my life? And why are you letting things get so out of hand or so seemingly out of hand? And then God shows you why in 1 Corinthians 10:13. And he just tells you, hey, this situation is here because you're going to come out of it stronger, because you're going to endure it. Because it's in this situation, it's when you're face to face with a giant that God is going to be able to tell you, hey, don't worry, I'm here. Watch me knock down this giant for you. You see that giant that looks impossible. You see your situation that you don't think you can get out of. You see that thing that's making you so anxious because you shouldn't be able to handle it. Watch me handle it for you. And so guys, I welcome you to to look at these situations, look at these Goliaths, and look at these challenges and just say, God, thank you for this challenge, because I know that you're going to come in and you're going to knock it down for me, and you're going to show me just how much I can do when I'm with you. And I want to welcome you guys to just apply this to each one of our situations that we may be facing in our day-to-day lives, for the sake of using these situations to be able to remember God more rather than lose sight of him, and hopefully in that way strengthen our relationship with God.